Hi, Perp Nation. Welcome to this workshop with DeCommas. We're going to be talking about basis trading. And yeah, so joining me on the call today, we have Salty, who is from DeCommas. And yeah, thanks for joining us and really excited to hear all about DeCommas.
Yeah, thanks for introducing me. Hi, guys. Hope you're having a good night or good evening or good morning, whether you're located somewhere else. Currently, we are at Paris Blockchain Week. So if anyone is here, hit us up on Twitter, DeCommas, and I guess it would be possible to meet up at the venue. So yeah, due to that also, it's a bit a mess, but I hope that I will share a bit of new information for your arsenal to build new strategy, to have more knowledge on what strategies you can run on perps. So maybe you can check for me whether everything works, whether you can see the screen, right?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, hope everyone sees too. I'm gonna check in the comments too. Yeah, everyone. Sorry for that. Okay, so yeah, basis trading for beginners. Let's start with the most basic things of the basis trading. So if you're from Perpetual protocol, you've used it, you basically already know what's the perpetual futures, what are the perpetual swaps. But if you are not from Perpetual community, maybe perhaps you came from our community or somewhere else from DeFi community, then I can share a little bit regarding the history and everything. So perpetual futures, they were introduced like a few years ago in DeFi, not in DeFi, but in crypto in general. And the main thing is you don't have a date of expiration for the futures. It's basically a contract between two parties, and you don't have an expiration date, let's say in May or somewhere else. So there is a thing because of that sometimes price can change in terms of the real price on the spots, like an index price. So the contract price may change a little bit. Either it will go higher or lower. In that case, on this screenshots, it's BTC USDT pair on FTX, our centralized, not our, sorry, centralized exchange. And you have BTC Perp, the actual contract, perpetual future at 64K 439, and then almost the same number, but 31 on spot, like an index price, which derives us to the difference into like $8. So the BTC Perp price is higher. And there should be always a mechanism to make sure that the price stays near the spot price. So the perp price won't change drastically, right? So that's where the funding rate comes into play. Here is also an example from perp v2 from the new interface. You have a mark price of 3,019 and an index price of 3,012. So basically also like $7, almost $7 of difference. So to make sure that the price goes back to the actual spot or index price, there's a mechanism called funding rate, and that's where all the money at. That's where all the money at in terms of basis trading. This is the money that is paid by one side of the market to another. So at this screenshot, you see the funding rate is positive due to the mark price being higher than an index price. If it's below, then it will be negative. And what does it mean in terms of the actual numbers? If it's positive, then longs pay shorts. So bulls pay basically, so it would be easier to remember. So bulls pay. If the funding rate is negative, well, then shorts pay longs, so bears pay. It's also always in the under the check mark here, under the question mark, sorry, in perp and on other exchanges too, which will help you to navigate that, because it took me, I don't know, a month or something to make sure that I remember who pays who. So yeah, here the current real-time funding rate, longs pay shorts if positive, shorts pay longs if negative, just like I said. But what does it mean for your actual strategy? like you see these numbers and, well, what's next, right? So what are the next strategies you can build? So the first one is when the funding rate is positive. That will be my first example. Then you can build a delta neutral basis trading strategy. So it means your position is denominated in USDC. And then what are your actions in that case? You open a spot long. After that, for the same coin, you open a hedge shorts, and then you collect the funding rate, because in that case, shorts are getting paid from the longs. You see here, like this is an old example, I think, maybe, yeah, because few of them are old. This is just for examples, so there is no direct alpha right now in the deck, because I've crafted it for some time, but that's a good example for alpha USDC. And but make sure that there's like not a funding, not a financial advice. It's just for an example, like how you can build the strategy, as you should see for yourself. Like you should find your own alpha, but that's just a good example. So you see there is like average funding rate over 24 hours, 7 days, last month, last 3 months. This is from our futures dashboard. I will share it after the presentation is done to make sure you have the right tools at your hands. So the funding rate was pretty positive for the last 3 months, including the last 24 hours too, including momentary funding rate, which is here. This one is 1 hour. This one is reference for 8 hours, because a lot of exchanges have 8 hours. And this one is annualized. We have that all in our interface, just like this is the screen without this, without the marks. But yeah, this one is the most convenient for me probably, because then you can compare that to the actual performance of staking or liquidity provision in DeFi. So it's pretty convenient to have an APR. Yeah, and that's the case here. Yeah, you would open a spot long on alpha, then open a hedge short for the same position size to make sure you cover with your hedge short fully your spot long, and then means that you are delta neutral, right? If the price moves 10% higher or 10% lower in USDC terms, it doesn't matter for you. You have the same amount of position. So if the price goes 10% lower, then you lose a bit on your open spot long, but you gain some on open hedge short. That basically balances out your loss on one side to the profit on the other side, and you remain delta neutral in USDC. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna stop sharing for a bit just to make sure Telegram is closed. Sorry. Yeah, once again. Can you see right now? Yeah.
That looks good.
Okay, the next one. So what do you do when the funding rate is negative? Yeah, I see the questions already from Mohammed. What is the funding rate? As I explained before, a funding rate is basically a mechanism to bring the price back to the index price, to the spot price. It's a hard concept, but you would still get it after you tried yourself. You looked at it a little bit more. You can also try to open a short or long position with really low amounts of USDC on Perp, and yeah, I will show after that. And just to make sure you understand how the funding rate works, you will see it in the history that you are getting funding rate payments, and that will definitely help to keep it clear in your mind, like what the funding rate is, how it works when it's negative, how it works when it's positive. So right now mostly, right now mostly on the concrete strategies on top of that. So when the funding rate is negative, it means you can build directional basis trading. Sorry for the USDC here, it actually is not true. It is without USDC. Directional basis trading means that you can squeeze out some extra APR on your assets that you have already in your portfolio, mostly for that. So you will sell the spot assets that you have to USD, let's say. then you will open long with the same size position to cover that, to have the same exposure basically, and then you collect the funding rate. So here's the GRT, unfortunately without last 3 months data, but with last month data. It was fairly negative for the last 7 days, 24 hours, and even last month. Usually when I've built my own strategies in my portfolio, I mostly looked at 7 days and month. 24 hours is basically not enough sometimes to build it properly. But you still have to look at the different periods of time to make sure that the funding rate is fairly negative for some period of time. And it's still negative at the momentary rate. So in that case, you had GRT as a token. It could be anything else, Ethereum, Bitcoin, wherever you have on Perpetual protocol. Then you would sell the sports assets, let's say on Uniswap, and then deposit that money to the Perpetual protocol, and then you would open along with the same size to have the same exposure, because you had the assets, so you wanted the exposure to the assets, and that would cover that. And then you collect extra funding rate. So basically you have exposure for the asset, the same as you had before for Ethereum or GRT or anything else. And then you collect extra juicy APR on top of that. Isn't that awesome actually? Because directional basis trading is a bit more complicated for some of the guys and girls, yeah. But it actually rocks too. But most of the time I hear right now that people would like to have some USDC exposure, yeah, to have some APR on USDC. So that's why delta neutral basis trading became pretty popular. Then the next like third option is a funding rate arbitrage. We've talked a bit about that in our DeCommas Medium articles. I've ran it myself. I've onboarded to Perpetual Protocol V1 and to YDX, and there were like a big funding rate difference. And then I've opened opposing positions to collect that funding rate arbitrage. This is like an example for BTC. So statistically, there was a big difference in terms of funding rate between the YDX and Perpetual Protocol V1. And that could happen for almost like every 2 exchanges. Like sometimes the funding rate is fairly similar, but this funding rate arbitrage could happen to centralized exchanges, to arbitrage between centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. So it would be really nice if you would have like an overlook on the market usually to see whether these arbitrage opportunities are there or not. So there's some back tests to make sure that you have at least some of the numbers, right? I see there are like a lot of questions already. That's good, because I think that I'm burning through my deck, through my presentation too fast. That's good that you already have questions. So some back tests that we ran, our employee helped with that, with the Python code and everything. We've gathered enough data from Perp V1. That's an example of directional basis trading. So that's what's the case for like almost a year, for 2021. As you see, it's mostly red, fairly red, I would say. That means that funding rate was mostly negative, and you would be able to sell your Ethereum at spot. Then you would deposit it, the sum that you have, yeah, in USDC to Perpetual Protocol and open long at the same exposure. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend to take anything more than X1 leverage. So I think that's pretty enough for that, both for shorts or longs, because you don't want to have risk liquidation too close to you, right? With the longs on X1 on Perpetual Protocol, you don't have a liquidation at all, and with the shorts, you have it with X1 leverage, you will have your liquidation almost at twice of the price of your entry. So there is like enough room to manage everything in terms of like the strategy, to see that the price is still there. You have enough collateral to cover, you won't get liquidated, but you still have to check it for yourself. And you still have to figure out what's the best way for you. But I wouldn't definitely recommend anything on more than X1 leverage. So yeah, coming back to the strategy, you would open an X1 long on Ethereum, and besides the same exposure that you would have with the same as Ethereum, you would also squeeze out some funding rate on top of that, based on the back test that we ran. Estimated APR would be something like 51%, and the period of time was a bit longer than 1 year, so ROI was even higher. But in annualized parameter, annualized, it would be something like 51% of extra funding rate, and you would be able to squeeze out a bit more out of that, but you would need to make some tweaks to run some more back tests for yourself if you're able to, or just like have a good look at the funding rate chart to make sure that you're running optimal strategy. So tools from DeCommas. This is soon will be new UI. I unfortunately cannot show it to you just yet, but I think it's going to be great upgrade for us. I'm going to show you the current version after that, but our goal with the next update is not only the pairs you would see, like the momentary and the average funding rate from 24 hours to 90 days, but you also will be able to see the charts. You'll be able to see charts solely for Perpetual, for example, or to compare that with other decentralized exchanges, and to see for yourself whether there is a fit for your strategy on certain pair. And that's I think would be a great opportunity for those new who are coming into basis trading, just to see based on charts whether there is a room for that, and whether there is like a good arbitrage or a funding rate stays pretty negative. So we will be able to squeeze out some extra on your long, or you will be able to squeeze some APR on top of USDC running through delta neutral strategy. So yeah, opening a spot long and then hedging it with the short for the same size. Right now I'm going to show you the actual tool, right? Sorry. Yeah, I think it's closed. Sorry, I'm gonna stop sharing and then come back.
Yeah, no problem. And maybe I'll just take this. Just take a second to let everybody know. So later, obviously, we'll have a Q&A session, and you can, so 3 of the best questions will win a prize, and there'll also be 1 random winner. So make sure everybody to prepare a wallet address that you can share in the chat. So the winners will ask you to share the wallet in the chat. So if you don't want to share a wallet that you've used before or that's related or associated with your, if you don't want to dox yourself, you can prepare, I'd recommend preparing like a new wallet for that. And yeah. So back to Salty.
Yep, coming back. Sharing the screen right now. Can you see it? Right.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, all good. So this is the current interface for the funding rates dashboard that we have. So you'll be able to see the momentary funding rates for 1 hour, 8 hours annualized for currently for Perpetual protocol and DYDX, to see the arbitrage, or just to see like what are your possible positions on Perpetual. And then in the next UI version, we will have both Perpetual protocol V1, right now it's for V1 still, then V2, DYDX and Mango markets. So there's a good room to have one position on Perpetual protocol and to arbitrage it either on spots or on some other DEX. Not going to promote any more other DEXs. You should definitely have always one leg on Perpetual protocol. That's true here. But we still provide data to make sure that you have all of the data you need to make the decision. Well, let's say on Ethereum USDC for Perpetual protocol V1, it was very negative over last 3 months, including today too. So you can draw some conclusions out of the data that you receive, and then build your own strategy. But I hope that after workshop, more people that joined us will be curious about the strategy, will learn themselves. We have a little bit of articles regarding funding rates on our Medium. So welcome to subscribe and read for yourself. We also shared like the back testing on basis trading. So yeah, pretty welcome to subscribe us. And then the last thing that I actually wanted to show is the thing that we are working on right now is actually our automated basis trading vaults. It's right now in testnets. So yeah, I'm going to show you how it looks. We are working on improving UI right now based on the feedback that we received from the community. So the strategy performance and all the data regarding that would be more understandable and more clean. So we still have like the cumulative yield and projected yield still coming. What's happening underneath the hood? User deposits USDC to run the delta neutral strategy, and that's it. Like you deposit and it's in the vault. You don't have to do anything else. Then vault itself monitors the funding rates. Then buy token here on spot DEX, it will be Uniswap, and then deposit to perp contract and open hedge short with the same size. There will be Perpetual protocol on Optimism, and then it collects the funding rates. So this strategy is suitable for long periods of positive funding rates. That's why right now it's in the waiting mode, I would say. But that's the great beauty of it, that you don't have to monitor it yourself. It works automatically. It sees that, okay, over the last 7 days, the funding rate was not appropriate to run the strategy. Then it should wait. When the funding rate is positive again, it will open Uniswap long, basically, yeah, like spot long. So it will buy Ethereum, and then with the same size in the same transaction, it will open a short on Perpetual protocol. So you wouldn't need to bother yourself. This is like our big experiment, our showcase of automation. We are pretty big believers in automation in DeCommas, and the same with the DeCommas, with our DeFi project. We have a lot of bots and smart orders and automation at DeCommas, and I think that DeFi is absolutely great, but it still lacks a little bit of automation, especially personalized. And that's where we're heading at. That's where we're heading to. And this is our like first showcase, which will work on relayers. In future, I hope it will be like a big community story that receives the actual trigger. Yeah, these relayers, they trigger the smart contracts, the vaults. This is the only trigger that it can receive, is to open position or to close position. And the relayers, they are monitoring the funding rates. These are like 3 building blocks. Yeah, monitoring funding rates, and opening spot long, and then opening a hedge short. These building blocks, they should be automated and then released further down the line to community, so you'll be able to build your own strategies. Yeah, like opening spots long on turn position, and then providing liquidity on that, and then hedging it with short on Perpetual protocol. So that would be like 2 beautiful building blocks from which you can build your own strategy. That would be something like, I don't know, let's see, Curve. Yeah, Curve is pretty popular pretty popular AMM for USDC, other stables too. You will be able to farm curve to put it on, let's say, on Convex or somewhere else, and then hedge your exposure on Perpetual protocol. There would be two building blocks, and then you would receive your APR based on that. So yeah, I'm coming with that pretty far further, but just to let you know that, yeah, this is our showcase, but we have a lot of plans further down the line. And the next thing is that I wanted to share with everyone before we're starting Q&A session is actually like few buttons to push, how to use it, how to set it up on Perpetual protocol, where to see the data. So I think that's at least I hope so, yeah, with the new interface for our dashboard, our DeCommas futures, it's here. Sorry, I'm going to show you. It's here in the interface. So with new UI, I think that we'll have all the data needed for running basis trading strategies, or just knowing that that might be like not the optimal time to open a long or short, vice versa. But right now you can already go to Perpetual protocol, and if you see that by stats that you have in your hands, hopefully we will release our version for V2 pretty soon. You'll be able to see that, okay, so if the funding rate was pretty positive for some period of time, like it's here right now, yeah, I'm not sure whether you can see it. Yeah, the funding rate here, 8 hours, is positive, but then you would need also to consider what was the funding rate for last 30 days, last 7 days. But if you found for yourself that funding rate is pretty positive over a certain period of time, yeah, market price is higher than index price, and that's like for a long time, happening for a long time, then you would be able to open long on Uniswap, basically just buy the token, yeah, buy Ethereum, let's say, to make sure that we covered this case. And then you would short with the same size. I don't have much on that wallet, let's say $100. So my entry price is 319. I will confirm the shorts. Not sure I'm gonna do that right now, but yeah, let's do that. Transaction sent beautifully. I like the new interface of Perp. Props to that. Props for that to Perp team. And then in the history, when your position is open, well, you have it here. Position is open. You have the funding payment history. I already had some funding payments on that account. Sorry for not having my other accounts on Perp V1, where I had like a few hundred of funding rate payments because I'm on the business trip. But yeah, I would love to show that. There was a lot of funding rate payments during my positions being open. This one I had pretty short for like what, few hours probably, and then I received funding rate. I think that's at that time there was like really heavy funding rate skewed, but I still received some. So you'll be able to track your funding rate payments here, and then if you have some pending funding rate payments, you will see it here, and then you will be able to calculate by that what's your PNL, what's your what have you earned from the strategy actually. Yeah, I think that's that covers it. I think I'm gonna close the position, even though it's $100, but still, yeah, I have the red one here. It means I have it open.
Thanks for your sacrifice of that $0.2.
And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Yep, that's pretty much it. I think that I've covered everything that I wanted, and I think there's like probably a lot of questions that needs to be covered, because I'm gonna be honest here, basis trading is quite a complicated strategy, sophisticated one, but once you get used to it with the X1 leverage, you will understand it, and you will realize that probably it's not that hard actually. Yeah, so probably I'm gonna come back to, oh yeah, transaction confirmers. Nice. Well, yeah, so let's see the chat. Let's see the questions.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I will get to the chat. I see 47 people there. Oh, nice. Okay, so testnet is ongoing, sir. Well, testnet for perpetual protocol basis vaults, it's definitely ongoing, but we have the maximum cap reached, and there is no more actions right now that you need to make, as the funding rate is still negative. We will release new UI, and it will definitely run for some time to make sure that it works in different conditions. It works like the trigger is working properly to open and close the position. That would be a good part of the testing too. But right now, for those who join testnets, the testnet vault, there is no more actions, and we will slowly release new things into it. And I hope that will bring some more fun to our testers. How did the funding impact the P&L with taxes? Are they not automatically included in the P&L? This is a hard question, actually. Like, I haven't even expected that, but that's a good question. I think you should consult with your tax consultants in your country, because this will definitely affect your P&L. You will receive the funding payments, and you can keep track of it for every single funding rate payments, like every one that you receive, and you can make a like CSV or Excel table out of that, and then you can calculate it with your tax consultants. Oh man, that's a lot of questions, actually. But yeah, I like this one, Charles Sabatier, but this is like too hard for me to answer, because it depends heavily on the country that you're in. So make sure you consult with someone without that. Not sure if I misheard or not, but sounds like issuing stablecoin with the delta neutral position like USD is doing is in the roadmap. I'm not. I can share some of the details. I think that this is not going to be in our roadmap for some time, definitely, because the idea was here to have your position open and close it, like automated, based on the funding rate conditions. I don't think that I have it 100%, but I guess that this is correct. That's for UXD and Lemma Finance and other guys who are doing like basis trading and issuing the stable coin. You have to issue stable coin, and the position is almost always open or always open, and regardless of the funding rate conditions, whether they are optimal for the position or not, the position will be open. So we try to avoid that, especially because we are not building the wall project on top of basis trading. This is just like a good showcase for us. I liked this strategy myself. I ran it for a few months, definitely, on decentralized exchanges, basically on Perpetual protocol. I ran arbitrage on Wi-Fi, so Wire finance token, and I ran arbitrage on Aave, like Aave. I can't. That's my issue with Aave. I can't pronounce it properly, but you get what I mean. Yeah, Humongous is telling that UXD is playing out right now. Yes, this is the case that we wanted to avoid, as we wanted to actually like make it automated. That you won't get heavy bleeding when the funding rate is turned the otherwise, like the other way. It still will be possible for the vaults to have a little bit of loss, but it should be covered with when the funding rate is open once again. Because usually the funding rates, as you've seen probably by this chart, right? Usually funding rates is you have some inertia. I'm not sure that's like the right word to describe it, but it changes. It has like a long periods of funding rate being positive or funding rate being negative. The most difficult one is actually when you have such periods of time where it's one day is negative and one day is positive, and this is where you would also have like almost zero or below zero, and we'd like to make some adjustments later to avoid that kind of thing. API delivered in the testnet periods. We have run our back tests. For every pair, it's different, and also depending on the period of market. It's still market dependent strategy, but you can run it in both in negative and positive funding, so it's good. But for the most of the back tests that we had, funding rates made like APR out of, okay, so from 6, 7 to up to 50. So for the most parts, we've seen something like 15, 20, 25, something like that. That's like a good diversification thing to do, because with the Ava lending, for example, I received 3% for my lending position. Well, that's like not really a lot, I guess. But with funding rates, with basis trading, you can squeeze more out of that, and that's like just another good option to have it in your arsenal. Okay, next question. Okay, so who covers the gas fees from Uniswap spot purchases? I assume this happens on mainnet due to liquidity, right? And how often is the vault rebalanced? So this one is still in the works. It should be covered by the vaults, but out of users deposit with a little bit extra to cover the fees, and we are still working on that. That's like a really good question, and yeah, I just want to make sure that I pointed out that it's still in the works. But the vault is rebalanced every time the funding rate for the 7 days. Right now, we may run some more back tests on mainnets and see whether it's still optimal. So it rebalances every 7, not like 7 days, but when it sees that over the period of 7 days, the funding rate is either positive or fairly negative, then it will close or open position. So I hope that answers the question. Is there any specific requirement process to support a market? Like right now on the testnet only supports ETH. Yeah, it actually on us in terms of like in this current version of DeCommas, it actually up to us to make the contract to make sure that it works for a certain pair. But I really hope that we'll be able to make it out of like building blocks, and you will be able to choose pair for yourself. Let's see, like you have a lot of pairs on Perpetual protocol. You just choose the right pair that you think you want to build your strategy out of. But that's definitely like further down the line. Well, yeah, DeCommas will also DeCommas will automatically split the order if the deposited USDC amount is too large, right? We are also working on that part in terms of we don't want to affect market too much. We've covered like 50,000 for USDC in testnet, so testnet USDC, and for mainnet the plan was also the same, just to start initially to see how the market reacts, how we affect the market when the position is being open. So what would be like increments, whether you open 50K in one order or you have to split it over some period of time. So there are definitely a lot of adjustments that could be made and things that you can cover. I don't want to talk like anything bad or anything to do any criticism for other projects that are already building on mainnet. Yeah, so definitely don't consider that in some way as a criticism, but you have to be really careful with the mainnet orders to deploy your liquidity, as the funding rate may actually go the other way because of your liquidity, because of your vaults that opens a position. Yeah, good to know that there is someone that's interested in that. Thank you, Waiting Chen, and thank you for your questions. I'm gonna look through some others. Can trade be seen as a job? Yeah, that's the next question. I think it is, but you have to be really like a pro for that. We get the role in Discords. Yeah, for DeCommas Discord, you can join, you can contribute. We have our community moderators that they will help out, and they will give you some role. If you're really like contributing, well, yeah. Yeah, so how do you ensure security with the many rug pulls we have seen in DeFi these days? This would be number one for many users, I believe. Yeah, this is like a tricky question for every DeFi project, as there is no way to completely eliminate the risks of getting hacked or economically exploited. So if someone tells you the other way, that's not doable, I guess. There's always risks on centralized exchanges. There are one risks, and then on decentralized exchanges and in DeFi in general, there are other risks. One of them always is like a smart contract, like counterparty, and that's basically beauty and the curse of DeFi. Is everything is open, everything is you can see it on Etherscan, and everything is open for everyone's eyes. You can deposit in most cases from any address when it comes to like mainnet products. And I think for some time there are still will be a lot of DeFi hacks, bridges hacks, but just you have to embrace the industry that we are in and be ready for losing at least some amount of your money. If you are not ready for that, make sure that you're not like participating too heavily with anything, but that's always going to be the case, at least for next few years, I guess. And the amount of audits will not help to eliminate it 100%, but it's good to have. And also like the period of time that contracts were live, for example, for DeFi blue chips, it's more than 2 years already. So that helps a lot, definitely. And the simpler the contract, the simpler everything, then the better. But I always tell that if you're not ready to at least lose like some amount of your money, then it's better to just hold the coins, hold everything. But what's the point of it, right? That's not really what's the fun in life in then. Okay, gonna see some earlier questions right now. How long till the QA approximately? So QA is going already, and we have 15 more minutes, maybe even less if we're gonna be out of the questions. But yeah, it's already up. Some of the questions not really relevant, sorry. Yeah, Waiting Chen, any back tests have been done because funding rate can make the strategy unprofitable. Just wondering what happens if factoring funding rate and past. Yeah, we've as you see at these screenshots, this is just one of our back tests, and we received pretty good results with this one. And we ran a bit more back tests on Perpetual V1, and we started with the back test already for Perpetual Protocol V2. It had for a few months, it had a lot of, not a lot of, but heavily skewed into positive funding rates. Now, for some period of time, it was negative. So we are still running like test and prod back tests and test and prod well, test and prod mainnet for us internally to see what are the optimal adjustments, the optimal parameters for the vaults and for automation. So it's definitely take some time to make sure that the mainnet is in optimal parameters. But yeah, we are working on that. Thank you for the question. Yeah, what is the expected reward in the strategy? So it will definitely change over time. As if someone used like ribbon finance or other structured products protocols with the options, you would know that it will change over time. So based on the market conditions, like APR will change over time if the market conditions change it. And the same with the basis trading also. So funding rate may change, and then the projected APR, could be only projected. It can't be like 100% guaranteed APR. It could be only projected. So projected R will change to projected APR. Okay, coming further. Okay, some of the questions I read, but I couldn't understand. So sorry, guys, I'm not gonna answer all of them. Some of them are, well, I don't know how to answer them even, but still, thank you. Okay, yeah. So Mike says the new interface is available, so you can check it out already while I'm running through other questions. How long we were able to keep your positions open on average? With Wi-Fi, I had my positions open for 1.5 months, I think so. With Aave, it was a few weeks or something like that in a row. And as you can see also by the backtest, and yeah, my friends ran the strategy for, not friends, but more like acquaintances. Okay, yeah, so they ran the strategy for Ethereum for quite a long period of time without closing it. So they were like spot, they sold on spot Ethereum and then opened the same exposure for Ethereum and Perpetual protocol. And they received like a lot of funding rates over that time. So I couldn't tell you exactly, but I think there was like a month of that, maybe like half a year or something. And that was a nice period of time to have an extra APR on top of your long exposure. That was really good for them. What's the main advantage of basis vaults compared to like DeFi options vaults? I would say this is also like that's kind of like a structured product too, because it consists of spots and then perpetual futures. But the difference is it's just like the different mechanism underneath it. And due to that, I guess there is also lower drawdown, possible drawdown on position, because with the options you can lose on one day big chunk of the strategy that you ran, like selling puts or selling calls, covered ones, but then in the long term you will still have it covered. But if it happens twice in a row or 3 times in a row, that might be an issue here, right? Because every time you would lose like, I don't know, 5, 6, 10%. With funding rates, even when it starts to bleed, you would have like a short loss and very minuscule one. It will be something like a few basis points initially, then maybe like one up to like 1%. If the situation have like changed drastically and the vaults wasn't able to close the position. But yeah, there just need to run some of the tests to make sure that this is not a usual thing, or there's a possibility to like have some treasury out of the periods of time where you have like positive funding rates, but that's definitely more like not a composable solution. I would say that should be like a separate vault, almost like Wire vault or like ribbon vault. And our target is mostly to do to make possible the solution to be composable, so everyone could run their own strategies, basis or not basis, and this is our showcase for that. Questions mostly about workshop. Yeah, please don't ask about anything. It's mostly regarding perp, regarding the strategy, like basis trading. Okay, so another one.
Salty, if I can just interject quickly, since we're coming up to about an hour, I thought we could just close the questions for now, and you can continue answering the questions that were asked already. But in the chat, I already mentioned that we'll cut off the questions at a certain point.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's finish with the questions. Testnet part 2, sir. Oh yeah, absolutely. It would be like a part 2, like a V2 version or something. We will just introduce new products into testnet, new tools, so we will be able to enjoy them, DeCommas. And just use the product, just join us in Discord, join Perpetual Protocol in Discord. They always have some nice competitions, and well, I really liked testnet for Perpetual Protocol V2. It was a lot of fun, and also I received the drop, so it was nice too. So yeah, I would recommend to join Discord. There was a question like, how does DeCommas charge fee for the vault? Our goal is actually not to charge something like performance fee, as to make the solution composable. We need to make sure that someone can introduce their own strategy, and we can't track whether it's earning some money or losing some, because the person made it himself or herself. So we would add, in future, we will add like commissions on every like automation block. So in that case, first, like the automation blocks in that case would be opening a spot long and then opening a head short. So this like basically two automated blocks in which we would have the commission. But right now there is no commissions, and initially we will not take any, as we are in pretty early development stage. So right now we are not adding any commissions, any extra fees from our side. So all of the fees are network fees or protocol fees that are already there. So yeah, Uniswap fees, something like that. Okay, so some more. Yeah, I think these are the most questions that I saw. Yeah, there was like a question regarding mobile application, but DeCommas will not do the mobile version. We're gonna have DeCommas wallet, I guess, so that will cover that. And I think that's it. I think that we are ready to wrap it up in terms of Q&A. So there are going to be 3 people that I'd like to get the rewards, like 3 questions that I like the most, not like questions, even like some of the people were shooting a lot of questions, definitely. So Waiting Chen, if you could share like your burner address, you can create a new one right now. You would be definitely one of the winners. You had a lot of interesting questions. Props for that.
I'm sure he has lots of burner addresses too.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, so thank you so much, and send us your burner address here. Then the question that I couldn't even answer fully is from Charles Sabatier. I hope that I pronounced it right. So question regarding the taxes, but there was an interesting one. I didn't expect that. So please shoot your burner address too. And then who's going to be the third one? There was someone regarding the fees. Yeah, this guy right here. I think this one is okay too. Open close position takes fees. How do you guys determine the funding rate will keep an open close position? So yeah, it was a pretty good question regarding the fees calculation that we are still like working on top of that. On that, sorry. So crypto investor, maybe you can share your address too, burner address. $30 in perp tokens for you. So waiting chain, then the tax question from Charles Sabatier, and then this guy crypto investor. And the last one who's getting $10 in perp tokens. That was the last question before we finished Q&A. The last message, basically, humongous. So that's a random one. I'm not choosing here by the question itself, but before Perpetual Protocol messaged Q&A finished, that was the last one. So we agreed that the last random person to ask will have $10 too. So please send your burner wallet to humongous. Yeah, humongous. And you have it to do it here. So we'll be able to collect the addresses and send you out the rewards after it. And I really hope that's the knowledge that I tried to share here would help someone and you enjoyed the workshop. Thank you so much for coming in. It was a big pleasure to do that. I'm gonna be honest here, it was pretty hard for me. That's the first time I'm doing the workshop in English. So it was pretty fun, and thank you so much for the questions. And yeah, have a great evening or morning or day, whatever you have. But yeah, we have to wait for a few more addresses, I guess. We haven't seen any.
Yeah, not yet. I'm not sure what they're waiting for.
What?
I'm just saying I don't know what they're waiting for.
Yeah, because we're gonna close the workshop like pretty soon, probably like right now. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen just to make sure that guys understand that they have to send their addresses right now. So waiting chain, Charles Sabatier, crypto investor with humongous, 30 for first three, and then $10 for the random one.
Yep, hopefully they'll do it.
If we stop the translation, the chat will close too, right? So
actually, the chat will continue for a little bit. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how long, but the chat will stay open for a little while.
Another option is to have these guys message us or you directly to send the addresses, but they will need to provide to provide screenshot that they have this exact YouTube accounts. But that's more difficult if that happens. So guys, please send the addresses, like Optimism addresses, just Ethereum addresses, burner ones, not to dox yourself, just like shoot your address here, those who received it. Well, Charles, you actually have to send your address too. So you're happy to take their perp, but you haven't even sent for yourself. So make sure to send the address here in the chat, like the burner one.
Yeah, if people for some reason don't do it, they can still.
Oh, I see it. Waiting Chan, I've posted the address here. Can't you guys see it? So I think it blocks somehow, right?
Oh, that's weird. I'm very surprised about that.
Maybe it receives some like spam. Maybe it displays it. Yeah, that there's spam or something, like blocks it as spam. I'm not sure. No, humongous, we can't see address. Okay, so we have to find another way. We weren't prepared for that.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah, YouTube.
I can see the address. Although there's other people posting their address too. Let me just
okay,
make sure
yeah.
I can collect
That's good that you can see, because I can see them in the chat. Like I cannot.
Yeah, I'll just collect. Yeah, I had to change the setting to show, because there's two settings. One is the top comments and one is like all.
Okay, so yeah, there's like potential chats, potential spam that is not visible. I see now. Yeah, all good. Now I see the addresses too.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Took us a few seconds to figure it out, but we have it now.
Yeah, Charles, crypto investor, waiting chain, humongous. I think we have everyone's address now, right? Yeah.
Yep, we have all the 4. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys, and thanks a lot to Salty. That was a really great, great workshop, and super excited to start being able to use that automated vault. That really looks exciting. So maybe when the vault launches, we'll have you on again to have like a live demo of it in production.
Yeah, I really hope so. Yeah, we still have a lot of work to do before that. And well, the market is also changes its tune for us. But that's good that I was able to at least do the workshop. I've enjoyed it, even though it was a bit stressful. And thank you so much for the questions. Thank you so much for having me. Props to all the Perpetual Protocol team that's made that happen. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And yeah, really great to have you on. And you did a great job. It was great having you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye for now.
Have a great night, guys. Have a great day. Bye.